All right. Also keeping it posted on China. You know, everyone talks about the fact that it is not the power it used to be, but China has a funny way of showing it. Key Chinese interests are spending billions now to scoop up premier U.S. properties, including virtually all the pristine, big-name U.S. properties, including Starwood hotels, or so the deal goes. Michael Block says, this is nothing to worry about. Dan Shaffer says, well, it doesn't sit well with him. Dan, you're worried. Why?
Well, I'm concerned about the way China operates. I mean, we're talking about a communist country. We don't believe the numbers that they tell us about how their economy is doing. And this is the second time this company 2 years ago was created. They tried to take over Starwood before and tried to beat Marriott. And now they've come in for a second time. Number one is, where are they getting the money? And number two is, why would the United States citizens want a Chinese communist entity? By the way, from what I understand, the head of this entity is married the granddaughter of Deng Xiaoping. So there's just so much tie-in with communism, controlling the world. Why let them buy Starwood hotels? Would you want to stay in some of these hotels, especially with some of the powers they can have? I mean, it just doesn't make sense that we would want to lose our privacy and give it to a communist country to maybe eavesdrop on us as we stay in these hotels.
I could see, Michael Block, them doing that with politicians who go, or the president. I know when a Chinese entity bought the parent of the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, he checked out of there and now goes to another hotel. I forget which one. I think it was a Holiday Inn Express when he comes to New York. But that would be a worry for government officials. For average Joes and Joannes, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, people, I'm not really worried about hotels from a national security standpoint. I have a lot of confidence in our security apparatus. They're going to keep the president safe. As for U.S. consumers, they can make their own choices. But Dan and I are not actually too far apart. This is a worrying trend. But the reason that I see it as a worrying trend is, where did China get the money, as Dan said? Here's the problem. China has their foreign reserves hemorrhaging out at a record rate. They're trying to support their own stock market. That currency has to devalue. So what are they doing? They know it's going down. They're getting the money out of the country. Chinese-backed entities are going and buying assets around the world. Call it diversification, call it what you will. But the reason it does worry me is not national security. It worries me from a global economy standpoint, in that it shows you that China is desperate to get money out of China. And they're doing it by buying these U.S. assets, buying European assets, buying assets anywhere but China. That currency is going to be devalued, and that's going to cause all sorts of problems.
Well, Dan, there is precedent for that with sort of like the last throes of a superpower, an economic superpower, before it slips a little bit. Japan, in the late 80s, doing the same thing.
Yeah, Japan did that exactly when they had the high in their stock market in 1990. And yes, I'm concerned. That's a good point that was just made. The money is trying to leave China and is trying to capture assets around the world, which shows me, remember, they do manipulate their currencies, that there is a potential that they're going to continue to manipulate their currency, and by placing the money out through this potential government entity could be dangerous for us globally.
Well, they do manipulate the currency. There's no doubt about that. Donald Trump has been pounding that again and again. Michael, do you like the kind of noise you hear out of Donald Trump to deal with that? Essentially what he's saying is, I won't let them do that.
We'll see how he does. Fact of the matter is, China's in a trap, and we're all going along for the ride here, unfortunately. The right thing for China to do is to say, okay, we're going to ease the money supply. We're going to, create these reserves. That'll make their currency go down. It's going to hurt the rest of the world in trade. It could help save the Chinese economy. It makes me not want to own Chinese assets, though. My point was, even China sees that. They're getting the money out and buying other assets. As for Trump's protectionism, just as a free trade guy, I'm not in favor of it. I'm in favor of China following the laws, but I'm not in favor of anything that's in restraint to free trade. With this, I don't see this as a security issue. If they want to buy hotel assets, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. will rule upon it. We'll see how they do. They're pretty arbitrary, in my opinion. I don't think this is a national security issue. If they let them buy it, then it'll be up for global consumers to decide, do I want to stay at Starwood Hotels, owned, as Dan says, by a Communist Party? We'll see.
Okay. Well, I expect both of you to be tweeted out by Donald Trump shortly. I want to thank you both. In the meantime, well, you did it. You did it yourself. I didn't help you on that one.
That's why it really hurts.
Neil.
There we go. All right, guys, thank you.